Welcome back. You're listening to Houston Real Estate Radio. I'm your host, Shanna Register, and every week we try to bring you news and information you can use on your next real estate transaction. And I hope you do have a great real estate transaction this year in 2016. We've been giving you some predictions from economists, things that we think are going to happen this year, and kind of comparing what's happened last year. And so this segment, I've got Scott Norman calling in. He's the executive director of the Texas Association of Builders. We heard from the National Association of Builders, and we're now hearing from the Texas Association of Builders. Before I bring Scott in, I want to give you our call-in line, though, because if you've got any kind of real estate questions, you can call us anytime, 24/7, and we'll answer your questions right here on the air every Sunday between 11 and noon. That call-in number is 844-788-9444. 844-788-9444, and we'll be happy to get an expert on to answer your real estate questions. All right, Scott, thanks for calling in from the Texas Association of Builders. I know you've got some data from last year that you're going to go over with us and kind of give us a perspective on how things went last year and what we can expect this year. So welcome to the program.
Thank you, Shanna, for having me, and Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
2015, as it's coming to a close, and I will preface this by saying most of my data is through November of last year. We're still waiting on the December data. But I think overall, my statement for 2015 is it exceeded expectations despite, some bad news in the energy sector, especially affecting your area of the state.
Yeah.
2015 ended up very strong, up almost 3.5% from the year before in 2014. I think we were going to end the year with over 100,000 single-family new home building permits issued statewide, which is the first time I believe we've cracked 100,000 since the downturn in the mid part of the last decade, 06, 07. So that's good. That's good. Multifamilies continuing to soar as well. I think through November of last year, there were 68,000 and change multifamily permits, which is about 4.3% up from the year before. So both single family and multifamily continued in 2015 to exceed expectations, I guess, despite a little bit of slowing. Multifamily led probably in your part of the state more than any others. I don't think it's a big surprise. Anybody driving around Houston see all the apartments that are going up all over town. And so we'll probably expect that to soar a little bit, but we still think 2016, both statewide, maybe a little slower in the Houston area, but looks promising.
Well, good. All right, so let's kind of go city by city, if you will. Let's talk about the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It's been growing strong and doing well. Are they having any issues there like we are in Houston with oil and gas?
The Dallas-Fort Worth region, which interestingly was probably the one that had struggled the most during the real estate downturn of the last few years and was probably the last to come back, is now, I think, leading the state as far as starts. They won't pass Houston this next year in housing starts, but they are probably, on a per capita basis, certainly picking up the slack for the state, whereas Houston may be slowing down or coming back a little bit more to normal. I think there's a number of reasons for that. One, they are not near the energy-dependent economy that the Houston area is, and there is a lot of job growth going on in Dallas-Fort Worth market. They were very behind on lots during the downturn. They're starting to get caught up on that, and there are a lot of companies relocating. The Toyota headquarters for North America relocating from California is probably the biggest news. They're moving into the Plano, Collin County area and bringing 5,000 jobs with them. But there are a lot of other things going on as well, and we're seeing continued growth there in both retail, some manufacturing, warehousing, and general business growth that is contributing greatly to the Dallas-Fort Worth region's growth. I think they're projected in 2016, they hit probably around 32,000 houses starts in 2015, and they're projected to continue accelerating that pace and maybe get up to 37 or 38,000 starts for the DFW area in 2016.
That's good. How's Austin doing?
Austin slowed down a bit. They've had significant price appreciation. Both Houston and Austin are leading the state in price appreciation, partly because, primarily, obviously, because of the demand that's going on. But Austin continues to be strong. I think the National Association of Home Builders projects maybe hit 14,000 permits in the Austin, Round Rock, Central Texas area, which would be an increase over 2015's 12,000, about 12,500. So we'll see. I can tell you homes are starting to be a little longer on the market in the Austin market than they have been, both existing and new. So we'll see what happens. But, the things that drive real estate, it's the same everywhere, is population and job growth. Mm-hmm. And Austin has both of those in spades right now. So as long as people are continuing to move here, they're going to have to live somewhere, and that's
right.
That's good.
All right. And last, San Antonio. What's going on over there in San Antonio?
Well, San Antonio has really started to pick up. Their starts, curiously, are about half of what the Austin regions are now, despite being a much larger city. They did about 6,500 starts in 2015, are projected to do a little over 7,000 this year in 2016. We'll see. It's a more affordable real estate market, and price appreciation has been a lot less. But people are bullish on San Antonio. They are continuing to expand and grow with companies relocating there as well. And so I think San Antonio is going to be just fine.
What do you think about housing trends? Are people continuing to downsize and buy more energy efficient homes and go with the new construction because of the energy efficiency? Or what kind of trends are you seeing?
Well, interestingly, we are seeing an increase in median home prices. The statewide median home price for existing homes is now around $240,000, and for new homes, it is skyrocketed. It's about $340,000 for a new home statewide. There's a lot of reasons for that, and it's not all because houses are getting bigger, certainly.
Right.
Land is much more expensive. Labor costs are much more expensive. Mm-hmm. It wasn't that many years ago. The median price for a new home was about $250,000, $260,000, and so it's gone up $80,000 probably in the last 6, 7, 8 years. But you talk about energy efficiency. So much of that, Shannon, has become mainstream. It's incorporated into almost all homes. Certainly, some are more have more high-tech features, I guess you could say. But as far as energy efficiency, insulation, HVAC systems, those sorts of things, the energy codes have gotten so robust, and we're about to have statewide a increased energy code this coming September. The state is moving up to a new, even more efficient energy code that we'll be training our builders all over the state on. And so any new home that someone is purchasing across the state is light years more energy efficient from something that was purchased even as recently as 8 or 9, 10 years ago. That is a trend that continues. In fact, we've probably squeezed almost all the blood out of that turnip on energy efficiency. There's not that much more we can do with new home construction.
Yeah. $340,000 for a new home, though, is a lot of money. That is priced well above what a lot of people can afford around the state. So for the new home buyers, who are out there, looking for a new construction home that's $140,000, $150,000, $160,000, what do you say to them? Are there going to be more of those types of houses built, or are we just going to see them go away because they're just not, the builders aren't making enough money on that production to even stay at that price level?
No, I'm a strong believer in the market driving it, and you're correct. There is great demand for that. Unfortunately, because of land cost and the regulatory entitlement framework and labor costs and some of the other things that are going on, and frankly the great demand, it has become more and more difficult to get houses built under the $200,000 price point.
Yeah.
But that is where the greatest demand out there is, and that's where many of our builders are trying to find ways to make it work, whether that be, different types of construction or, smaller lots and that sort of thing. But it is happening. But it is harder and harder to find. But I would say keep looking, and I would say the market's probably going to respond to that. a lot of that increase in median home price was because of lending restrictions that came online post the great downturn in the real estate market, and it was a lot harder for folks to qualify for those types of loans.
Right.
And so I think you've seen that reflected in the houses that were getting built and sold. But some of that has eased, and as the economy nationally continues to improve and lending standards and the availability of people to obtain loans has increased, I think you'll see a more readily a pool of lending money out there that people can tap into and that can qualify for these homes. And so you'll see the market adjust.
Good. All right. Well, we appreciate you calling in. Scott Norman, the Executive Director of the Texas Association of Home Builders. We appreciate you calling in. Great information. I know you've been at this a long time, so you're very well versed in this. Some great information for our listeners. And I know that we have seen more builders building. We've seen some smaller neighborhoods come up at a lower price point, which has been very good for our first-time home buyers that want new construction. But the new construction market seems to just keep going strong in 2016, and we sure are glad about that.
Absolutely. I appreciate you having me on.
All right, we'll be right back after a word from our sponsors here on Houston Real Estate Radio.
People often find themselves in need of storage and moving, but don't want the hassle and stress. Sound familiar? Well, at Zippy Shell, we make storage and moving easy. Zippy Shell will deliver a storage container to your home or business. You load it at your leisure, and we'll take it to one of our safe, convenient storage facilities. Or ship it to your final destination. We treat your stuff like it's our stuff, because we understand you're not just giving us your belongings, you're giving us your trust. Zippy Shell. Storage and moving that makes life simple.